Are we live? I do believe. All right, sports fans, what's going on? Patrick over here at Ghost Picks ATS coming at you with a free play of the day as well as some insight into this weekend's AFC divisional round matchup between the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs. I will be going deep into that game, talking about angles, insights, player props, and everything else you could imagine, covering all grounds in that game. I'll also be talking about my NFL Millionaire DFS tournament lineup, which is over here on the left, on my right, whatever it is. But that one will be on deck here. First off, I do want to test and make sure the sound is working. I had to cut it down because the sound is off. So we are good. All right, we are all good. We are live. All right, cool. So if you're just stopping in, thanks for stopping in. I am Ghost Picks Patrick. I am relatively sharper, better, especially when it comes to NFL playoffs. I will get deep into it. I look at advanced stats, advanced numbers, as well as watching game film. So I have a nice little balance of both, and that is the way I go at it. I look at it from the coach's perspective and look at how to attack lineups. And most of the time I am correct, but, especially when it comes to playoff time, more so what coaches are going to do, a little more predictive, and we will be talking about that today. First, if you're just stopping in, if you could like, comment, subscribe, it helps the algorithm for YouTube. But anyways, we're going to be talking about all kinds of things, as well as an NCAA basketball free play today, which is below me. You can see it will be scrolling across the screen. And there will also be a special discount at some point in this video. So thanks for watching. Thanks for stopping in. If you are just looking for the free play, there is one down below. There will be one later in the video in the Bills Chiefs, as well as that NCAA basketball play. But with no further ado, we'll go ahead and get right on into it. Packages are down below. You can see the rolling screen. Those are all the specials that I have going on right now. There will be an additional one somewhere in this video. But the ones for everybody, if you're just stopping in, are right there posted. But let's get ahead and get into DFS first. Talking about the Millionaire Lineup. I'll go through all these players here in a little bit. But first, you want to kind of go at the strategy. If you're looking at this lineup, you might think, that's a little asinine, a little bit crazy. Sure it is. And this is the preliminary one. I'll be doing a little more in-depth by Saturday or Sunday, by Saturday before game time, making sure everybody's in that needs to be in. So that's always important, especially with DFS. But I do believe this list of guys over here should be good to go. And if you're going to win $1 million, you got to be contrarian. It almost rhymes, but it's the truth. It's very much so the truth. If you're as square as everyone else, you're never going to get in there. So with that being said, the highest total of the week is that Bills-Chiefs game, where you got to imagine after what both those teams did that people will be loading up on the Mahomes, Kelsey, Tyreek Hill stack, or Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, and they will be loading up on the top-tier guys in that game. And for good reason. They have a high chance of going for a good amount of points. But if everyone's taking it, that's not the route we're looking for. And with that being said, there's still a total of 54 points in that game, so someone's got to score. And that is where we'll start off our chat today with NFL DFS. It's going to be Clyde Edwards-Helaire. The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. This is a make or break 0 or 20 type of performance from Clyde Edwards. The Bills, they're not nearly as good versus number one receivers nor tight ends, and that is what Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce are. You would expect the Bills to do whatever they can to minimize those guys, and in my opinion, that is the running game and the short passing game, screen game. We saw no screens last time these two teams played in Week 5. I would not think that to be the case this time. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I think he's going to be one of the least owned guys this week. In a high total game where the quarterback loves throwing to the running back, I understand why, but this is exactly, we're going for the million. We're looking for touchdowns, high upside, and low ownership. With Jerick McKinnon and what he did last week for the Chiefs, I would expect a lot of people to kind of go for a long shot on him, more at 4,100. But with Helaire being there, I think he will be the main option. While I don't love him at all, he very well could go for 2 points. I think he is the number one guy, probably the super contrarian play of the week. And you just got to go with it. As far as the top stack, Cooper Kupp, I think he's going to be less owned than people might think. I think OBJ is going to be the top guy this week. He's only at 5,100, and Cooper Kupp is sitting at 8,600. While it seems expensive when you average 27 a game, it adds up very quickly. Against this defense, he torched them last time. They took their foot off the gas in the second half, and with Matt Stafford against this defense, I think he has a great matchup. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL versus the blitz, and no one blitzes more than Tampa Bay. On the flip side, Brady, Brady's going to be kicking. He is, Tom Brady. He's as efficient as anybody. That offense is going to be humming. So the Rams know they're going to have to score, and that's why I love a little Tyler Higbee as well in there. Loading up on that game, Mike Evans, Cooper Kupp, Tyler Higbee. My opinion for the Millionaire lineup is that everyone is going to load up on the Buffalo-Kansas City game. It's just going to be the top stat game. There's going to be pieces everywhere. We're rooting for field goals pretty much in that one. And we're going to load up on the Rams and the Bucks. As you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4 guys in that one, including Stafford, Kupp, and Higbee. I think that there's going to be a lot of options in that game. Whether the Bucks get ahead or the Rams get ahead, I think either game script, the quarterback still will be throwing the ball, and because you're not really running on these two teams near as much as they're susceptible to the run, but you can really attack them in the passing game. And I think Stafford and Brady will be going back and forth at it. Give me Mike Evans, Cooper Kupp, and Tyler Higbee, who, he's one of these guys. Higbee's actually he's going to be on my 50-50 guaranteed lineup 100%. He's probably my player of the week. Since they started going to 2 tight end set more, he's been the benefactor. He's getting about 8 to 10 targets a game, or he's had at least 6 targets in the last 7 games. Those numbers are wrong. I don't know where they're spit out of, but he's been getting peppered, absolutely peppered against Tampa Bay. Devin White is the biggest weakness in the secondary, one of the biggest, best blitzing linebackers in the NFL. Tyler Higbee over the middle. We've seen it all year long against the Bucks. Devin White is a liability in coverage, so absolutely love him there. So those long shots, going back to that Buffalo-Kansas City game, there's 2 of them. Both of them could very well go for 0 points. Both of them could very well go for 20, 25 with a touchdown, a long one, and ends up being the winner for us. So you see Isaiah Mckenzie down there at 3,500, my cheapest player of the week. He has kind of replaced Cole Beasley's snap. So Cole Beasley used to be the zone killer. That was what I used to call him all the time for Josh Allen. He just found his way, soft spot of the zone, sit down, always wide open. It seemed like he was always open. And anytime you needed a third down or something like that, Cole Beasley was the guy. Over the past couple weeks, Isaiah McKenzie's actually been taking those snaps. He's as explosive as anybody. They found him on jet sweeps, end around, little toss passes, bucket passes, using them in the slot. They peppered him in the New England game in the regular season. And then he was on the field for a damn good amount of snaps last week. In this high-scoring game where, once again, Kansas City, I looked at them to shield their defense towards Stephon Diggs, Dawson Knox, who's been doing great, and also killed him last time. Underneath routes, I expect them to be there all day long for this team, so Isaiah McKenzie and Clyde Edwards-Helaire could be the main benefactors. That's a huge one. Obviously, those are the make or breaks. They're cheap. If they go off, we're sitting in the driver's seat. Then we got the cheap shot, long shot of the weekend, and that is Kyle Juszczyk. This one here, it's the $1 million play. If you're going to win, somebody has got to be an outlier. Somebody's going to step up. So he doesn't really do anything on the year, not one bit. But Kyle Juszczyk's best game of the year, if I had to quiz anybody, it was week 3 against the Green Bay Packers. I'm pulling up his stats now. Kyle Juszczyk, I do believe, had he had his most carries of the year and his most targets of the year against the Green Bay Packers. Now, Green Bay Packers are very, very susceptible to tight end. You think George Kittle, naturally. But, once again, playoffs, everybody knows that. You're going to want to stop Deebo Samuel. You're going to want to stop George Kittle. I think the running game is going to be there all game long. the passing game, the short passing game, could be the main benefactor of Jimmy G's broken thumb. Jimmy G in the cold, 20 degrees, he's not really going to be throwing the ball as much as deep downfield. So, who's a benefactor? Juszczyk. Catch me a little play action rollout. Juszczyk in the flats for a tutty. And then from there on, all he needs is a couple targets and, put up a 12-point performance or something like that. And we're in the driver's seat. But once again, best game of the year. His most carries and most targets came against Green Bay. He had 4 catches for 40 yards and a touchdown against Green Bay and had 5 carries for 15 yards as well. Give me in the cold. I don't think the 49ers trust Trey Sermon. So Juszczyk also doubles as the backup running back. You see him in there on third downs, passing downs. And, he's out there on the field. Opportunity leads to points. And it's $1 million idea, baby. Juszczyk gets in the end zone, I'll be doing a dance, guaranteed. Then we got our top dog, Devonte Adams. My main lineup may feature a couple people from this game, but the $1 million lineup, I'm going for the 3 heavy hitters. You give me maybe the 3 best quarterbacks in the game or in the playoffs with Matt Stafford. Matt Stafford, Tom Brady, and Aaron Rodgers. You give me their 3 clear number 1 receivers with the upside through the roof. None of them playing against a phenomenal defense against the pass. All 3 of those guys. Give me all 3 of them at the possibility that all 3 go off. With the price of the running backs, I think this is maybe my top strategy for the $1 million. I'm not going to go this route for my guaranteed 50-50, but as far as we're reaching for the ceiling and really don't care if we hit on the floor. This is the lineup here, and with no further ado, we'll go ahead and get on into the Bills and the Chiefs as somebody hauls by. All right, so Bills, Chiefs. Actually, first, quick, because I'm not going to talk about this for long. Free play of the day, NCAA basketball is down there showing right now. Wagner at Long Island. Long Island plus 6.5. Long Island played all year long, or the first half of the year against great competition, went like 0-8. Since then, they have played they've gotten into their conference schedule and have been rolling, actually. So first half of the year, 0-8. Second half of the year, they are 6-2. They've won their last 4 at home against a Wagner team that is 10-2, but has played absolutely no one. I like the Long Island catching the point, 6.5 at home. And I'll repeat that later on in the video for anybody else just stopping in. I'll do a recap at the very end, maybe the last 2-3 minutes or whatever, for those of you who are just stopping in. We are talking about Bills Chiefs now. So I got a whole write-up. I got everything you can imagine on this game. This was going to be my premium play. It will be a premium play in this game no matter what, but after last week's analysis of the Bills and the Patriots, I had to come on here and talk about the Bills again and save face. Last week I had the under in the Bills versus the Patriots, and I still think it would have hit had not given the most epic performance of all time by Josh Allen. And in my write-up here, I will go over why exactly he picked them apart and to the degree that he did. And we'll be getting into this game, the matchups, these 2 teams played in Week 5. We'll go over that one and get on into some of the nuts and bolts. I'm going to be going deep into depth here, talking numbers, talking strategy, and top player props and other things. Before I do so, I will go ahead and say this is the time for this special deal. So I see a couple people watching. If you get to this point in the video and you're not, promo code STREAM80. So this package down here in the bottom right, bottom left, sports betting NFL playoff package, it is half off this week, and that'll take you all the way through the end of the playoffs. If you use the code STREAM80, the link to this one is down in the description. I will put it in the comments as well. This $99 package, you will get that for $80, an extra $19 off that with the promo code STREAM80. We'll have that down listed somewhere. I'll maybe have something pop up here. But STREAM80, promo code, you get $19 off that already discounted NFL playoff package. So thanks for watching, and let's get on into it. First time around these two teams played, Josh Allen had a 50% completion percentage, but destroyed the Chiefs on the long ball. That was probably the peak of the Chiefs' struggle. So the Chiefs really struggled on on defense this year, especially in the first half. Second half of the year, they really turned it around, and similar to the offense, they kind of figured out how teams were playing them and what they were doing, and made the necessary adjustments. With that being said, did they fix them all? Can they fix enough to stop this Josh Allen passing game? I really think so. So both ends. I think this is going to be a great game, first off, right from the rip. Neither one of these teams had great success stopping either one in the first matchup. Even though you look at the score, 38-20, you think, oh, the Bills kind of shut down the Chiefs. That was not the case. The Chiefs had two bad interceptions off of tip passes, drop passes. One in the red zone from Tyreek Hill completely changed the outlook of the game. That was also the Super Bowl at that time for the Buffalo Bills. They had prepared all offseason for that game and were very, very prepared in all aspects. They attacked who they wanted to, when they wanted to, and that's exactly what we'll get into right now. First off, Daniel Sorensen. Daniel Sorensen played more deep safety in that matchup or in the beginning of the year than he had in his entire career. He is a run-stopping safety. He is terrible in coverage. The Buffalo Bills 3 times in that game got Daniel Sorensen in a deep third of the field, attacked him. He made a mistake, got burned all 3 times for long 50-plus yard touchdowns. It was about that simple. A team scores 38 points, and 21 of them are directly off of one single player. He attacked them. Good. I'm all about mismatches. That's how, if I were a coach, I don't coach to my strength. I coach the opponent's weakness, and that is exactly what the Bills did there. So the Bills have been one of the best teams against man coverage. Josh Allen is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL against man coverage. We've seen it all year long for 2 years running now against zone. He absolutely struggles. And this is what I said last week when talking about Bill Belichick and the Patriots defense. No team runs more man-to-man defense than the New England Patriots. The game plan every week is the cornerback gets a wide receiver's number and says you cover him, you run with him, you chase him all around the field all game long. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I said last week that Bill Belichick would switch his defense to a zone defense to account for Josh Allen, and that's exactly what he did. But big thing about that, the Patriots defense was not used to it. You could tell they looked lost out there. They had miscommunication. They got beat over the top. They had great coverage on a couple plays and then just lost the receiver after a couple seconds. That's not the case with man-to-man where you have, lockdown, you're chasing them all around. You're not responsible for zones, coverage, crosses, communication kills. So last week, Josh Allen destroyed the Patriots at what they are not good at. Fair enough. This week, Kansas City Chiefs. Nobody runs more zone coverage than the Kansas City Chiefs. They don't run hardly any man except on third down, and that is only when they bring heavy blitz. Steve Spagnuolo is one of the best defensive coordinators in the game at disguising coverage, bringing blitz, and that's what you got to do against Josh Allen. This is kind of like the perfect matchup here for the Chiefs defense versus Josh Allen. There's been like 5 or 6 games this year where Josh Allen has struggled. All 6 have one thing in common. They are zone defense teams. It doesn't matter if they're good, bad. I mean, the all-time shit list, the Falcons, the Steelers defense, the Jaguars. These are bad defenses this year. All of them shut down the Bills. Why is that? They run the majority zone defense. They ran zone blitz. The Falcons didn't blitz at all. They just sat back in zone and made them nickel and dime it down the field. He had one of his worst games of the year against one of the worst teams. Steelers, same thing. They knew first game of the year Josh Allen was not great against the zone. So what did they do? Zone. It's night and day. The teams, you look at the highest scoring outputs of the Bills this year, it was against the Patriots, Redskins, Dolphins. All these teams run the highest percentage of man coverage in the NFL. Picks it apart, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Zone defense will be the main thing for the Chiefs this week, and that's kind of like the whole story of it. So now getting into what I'm talking for free play. I like the under. Sounds a little crazy. There's no doubt about it. Under 54.5 is 54.5. It sounds what it is. Both these teams coming off 40-point performances last week. 54 is a tough pill to swallow, but I really do think this game goes under. Neither one of these teams will want to lose to the long ball. We'll see it time and time again on first and second down. The Chiefs will have two deep safety or whatever and make Josh Allen nickel and dime it down the field. The same thing will go for the Bills. Both of these teams ideally want you to just throw it underneath, come make up the tackle. Long drives, long sustained drives. I wouldn't be surprised to see some field goals in this game. It was the same thing last year. Any Buffalo Bills fan, it should haunt them. They played a great game last year in the playoffs against the Chiefs, moved up and down the field, but took 5 field goals in that game. One of my favorite props of this game is actually, I'm drawing a blank. Harrison Butker's point total. So his point total is sitting at 6.5 for the game, which is touchdowns and field goals combined. Or it's 5. I do believe it's like 5.5 with juice. And I'll tell you, I like the over on that one. I do think Harrison Butker will kick probably 2 field goals in this one. The weather will be no issue. It's going to be cold, actually 30 degrees and no wind in Kansas City is about as nice as it gets for this time of year. But why do I like the under? The Bills' defense, since they've lost Tre'Davious White, has faced some porous quarterbacks. Now, so I'll go ahead. The 2 plays that I'm leaning into are the Chiefs. I'm leaning in the Chiefs minus the 1 on the money line, and then the under 54.5. I like the Chiefs simply because their experience, they've been there, and they've also been clicking. If you look at them the past 10 weeks, I think they are the best team in football. If you look at the course of the entire season, the Buffalo Bills are clearly right there. That was a monstrous game between the Bills and the Patriots for qualitative purposes, non on paper. That was that's a rivalry game, and they treated it like they were ready to roll. This Chiefs team, I think they're going to run into a wall. The Chiefs defense is exactly what you want to face against Josh Allen. And on the flip side, the Bills have not faced any good quarterbacks besides Tom Brady over the past 8 weeks. So since Tre'Davious White got hurt, they have faced Mac Jones 3 separate times, 2 of those in terrible weather games. They faced Sam Darnold, Matt Ryan in the Falcons, and Zach Wilson. They've won all those games. The only game in between is Tom Brady and the Buccaneers, and Tom Brady absolutely picked this defense apart to the tune of like 350 yards on 25 completions, 60% completion percentage, high, CPOE, EPA, all the nerd shit too. He picked them apart. They took the foot off the gas in the second half and let the Bills get back into it, but that game was nowhere as close as it should have been. The Bucs got stopped on 4th down twice in their own on the Bills side of the field and settled for a late field goal just as a chip shot from like the 3. That game was not that close. Tom Brady, I went back and watched it. That's a great game to get an understanding of this Chiefs-Bills game. The Chiefs run a similar defense to the Bucs. They're 2 of the heaviest blitzing teams in the NFL. They like both the defensive coordinator, Steve Spagnuolo, and Todd Bowles are both 2 of the heaviest blitzing quarterback coaches. And, it creates trouble. We saw it for Josh Allen, that the disguise packages, you bring pressure off one side, he looks, once it's there too late. If the first read is not correct, you're in trouble against this kind of defense. And so it'll be Spagnuolo versus Josh Allen, especially on 3rd downs. We saw this with Joe Burrow. He decided to go one-on-one with Jamar Chase. I'm sure they learn from that and will shield to Stephon Diggs, but that defense will be ready for Josh Allen, and I expect a lot of underneath packages, a lot of underneath coverage. But shoot, I think as far as the Chiefs go, getting back to it, the Week 5 game, Chris Jones wasn't there, and he's the best player on that defense. If you look at the numbers with Chris Jones and without Chris Jones, they go from a number 31 defense to a top 10 defense. It's that big of a discrepancy. Add in the rest of the guys. This Bills team is a phenomenal team all around. They've got players everywhere, especially on the defensive secondary, which is why I like the under. Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer are going to keep everything underneath. They're not going to allow you to beat them over the top. and both these teams are going to have long, sustained drives, which will lead to, all you need is a couple stops in those type of situations, and we will get under the total. But, man, let's see. What else do I got here? Oh, going back into it, the Week 5 matchup, I wanted to say one last thing. The Chiefs, they didn't punt at all. They went down the field, up and down the field. The only way they were stopped were off of their own turnovers, which is, when you see that, that's not predictive. Turnovers are hard to come by, especially, 2 of them were tip drop passes. You change that around, the Chiefs were right in that game. They match up very well against this Bills team. The Bills have the number 1 defense versus wide receiver 2s and wide receiver 3s. So slot receivers, number 2 receivers, they shut them down, completely get them out of the game. But against top receivers and top tight ends, they're more middle of the pack. Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce. That means they're going to attract more attention, which it's going to be hard to shut them down, especially without Tre'Davious White. When you have a cornerback to the talent of Tre'Davious White, you're able to say you got Tyreek Hill, and we're able to figure everything else out. We don't have to worry about Tyreek Hill near as much, but without him, it's going to be a nightmare. Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, they've been phenomenal underneath all the second half of the year since Mahomes has kind of settled down. In a perfect weather game, I expect them to be clean, no turnovers, precision, pick them apart. But both these teams, bend don't break defenses, baby. Bend don't break. They're great against the long ball, under 54.5, and the Chiefs plus or minus the 1. I think that's about all we got. Once again, quick one, stream. Good luck. God bless. Grind on. Like, comment, subscribe. We got the Long Island plus 6.5 in college basketball tonight. We got the Bills, Chiefs under 54.5. The Chiefs minus the 1. And DFS lineup to the side. Playoff packages all down below. Links in the description. Stream80 is a promo code. Stream80. You get $19 off that playoff package, which the link is in the description. Peace.